Welcome to another episode of Mexican in the Kitchen. This recipe is quite simple, it has very few ingredients. I'm going to use 4 jalapenos, I'm going to use some garlic, I'm going to use 1 small onion or half a large one, I'm going to use 50-60 milliliters of olive oil, and I'm going to use half a cube of chicken stock. If you do not eat animal products, you can of course use some salt or some vegetable stock, because that will give a way nicer flavor than just using salt. Preparation for this recipe is quite simple. I'm just cutting the stems of the jalapenos, and I'll cut the onion into smaller pieces. In this case, I just cut it in 4. I'm going to start by adding the oil to the pan. I want my oil to be hot, but not too hot. So in my stove, it's going to be a 3 out of 6, so medium fire. If you want to know if the oil is hot already, what I do is usually I chop a small piece of onion and I will throw it into the oil. As you can see, it gets a lot of bubbling around, so that means my oil is ready. So at this point I can start adding all my ingredients. I chose a larger pan because it's way easier to show you the process, but of course if you want to do this in a pot that is a bit deeper but a bit smaller and the ingredients can go a bit deeper into the oil, that's perfectly fine. The process will most likely be faster. From here on, there's not really much to do. All we have to do is just keep an eye on everything, make sure nothing burns. Maybe flip the onions and the garlic from time to time. Make sure as soon as it starts getting this golden brown color, we can take them out, because if we let them burn, that will make our sauce a bit bitter. After a while, one of the first things to be ready is this garlic. You can tell it's getting brown, it's quite soft, so for me that's the spot where I will take them and I will put them on a separate plate. You will notice the jalapeno skin starts turning into this kind of thing. That happens when it starts burning, but it won't make our jalapenos bitter or anything. It's perfectly normal for that to happen. We want that kind of texture all around. Once the onion starts looking kind of see-through, it's quite soft and it gets these really brown edges, we are going to start taking them out. At the end, the last ingredient should be the jalapenos, because they will take a bit longer. You will notice the skin has changed a lot, the color, the texture, it's quite soft. You will feel even the jalapeno itself is quite softer. I was putting all the ingredients I was taking out in this bowl, and at the end I just took all the rest of the oil and threw it in here. Even though I was using my stove on medium, the oil is still quite hot, so I want to give it 5-10 minutes so it can cool down before I take it to the blender. I have my blender ready, and it's going to be quite simple because I just have to throw everything in there. I will also add my chicken stock, and depending on where you live you can add some salt or not, because I remember in Mexico the chicken stock I used, it was quite salty, so in that case I will skip the salt. But if the chicken stock you are using is not salty at all, then add a bit more salt. That's the case here in Finland. Depending on your blender, this might take a bit longer or it could be quite quick. But once you think everything has been blended nicely, let the blender run for at least 30 seconds, maybe a minute, because most of the texture of this sauce comes from the oil being emulsified and it makes a really nice texture. Once we have blended our sauce, then I'm just going to put it in a bowl. You will notice it has a beautiful color, it has a really nice texture. This sauce on your table will look beautiful, and you can tell why some people believe this has avocado. It's very creamy, it's very similar to a runny guacamole. It's a really nice sauce. This green sauce is really nice. This is a kind of sauce that you will find in many taco places, and up to not very long ago I believed it had some avocado on it. Some people have different variations of this, but it looks really nice. People might think there's avocado because of the texture. The flavor is really nice. Onion gives a lot of flavor. The chilies give a lot of flavor. If you like it a bit more spicy, you can use some other chilies mixed with the jalapenos, but I really love the jalapeno. When you put it in the oil, you will notice the smell. It's beautiful, it fills the house. And this goes so nice on top of tacos or any kind of traditional meal. You can put it in a burrito, but even on a sandwich, on top of some steak, it really goes well with that kind of thing. So I hope you try at home. Press like, subscribe, all those kind of things, share it with your friends, and see you in the next one.